So it's 6 o'clock. So welcome to the last panel of the Saturday part of the MCParks Expo. But don't worry, because we will have many more interesting panels tomorrow. But now we're going to be talking all things technician and everything related to, sort of what we do here and how we get everything up and running and all the cool shows and all the rides that you guys so enjoy and all that fun stuff. So I think we're just going to go down the line here and introduce ourselves. I think everyone's unmuted. You should be unmuted. But yeah, we'll start from the far left. So I'm Vec. I am the technician lead here on MCParks. I have been working here for 5 years, and one of my most notable creations is Spider-Man. What about you, Eric? Eric.
Hello, guys. Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot I put the talk on this channel.
There you go.
Anyway.
It's going great. This is going fine. Don't worry.
This is. Okay. Let's see. I'm Eric. I have been a technician on MCParks for, I want to say, 4 years at least. Yeah. One of my notable creations was actually wishes, Hallow wishes, and holiday wishes. Yeah. I've done all of those, so those are great.
Cool. All right, Corey.
I guess I'm up next. I'm Corey. I started as a tech back in 2018. I've done a little bit of stuff here and then, but I still help out with the tech department now and then again. One of my most well-known attractions that I've worked on is Happily Ever After.
And DLP.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Josh, also known as BLP. I've been here since November 2018, so you can do the math. Or maths. I'm most notable for Tower Terror or Happily Ever After.
Cool. Bouldergeist.
Yeah, I'm Bouldergeist. Been here for around 3 months, and nothing that I've worked on has opened yet, so still waiting.
Nope. But he's also on the Park Experience team, and he's done some really cool stuff for them. So.
Yeah, some things, some branding things for the expo, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You did a lot of filming for Step in Time, didn't you? Not technician related, but like as far as achievements on the server go.
I think I did all the filming for Step in Time. Mer
you filmed and Mer edited or something.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I've been at Tech for around 2 months. I was first hired as a GR back in January, and all my attractions are still in progress. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, this is just a few of us.
Back. You forgot the old guy on the right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you forgot me. So I'm
What's up?
Noah. I've been here for about 6 years, and probably the biggest ride or show I've worked on is Jurassic Park, River Adventure, and Universal.
Awesome. And you're currently working on the new version as well.
I am. I've worked on all 3 incarnations of it.
Yep.
I want to know how many times that's happened where we replace a ride more than once and the same technician worked on all the versions. I don't think it happens very often. I think it's pretty rare.
No, I think I'm one of the only ones who's done it. Yeah, I don't really know.
Why do I still have Mater tractors in my inventory?
I think I still have a few as well.
I'll take some.
I got this last night. But yeah, so this is just a few of us that are on the team. Well, actually, this is most of the team, but there's a couple people that couldn't have made it, which is unfortunate because some of them are also doing really great work. But so basically, our job as technicians on the server is to bring all the shows and rides and other attractions that you see on the server to life. So the Imagineers go in and build the attractions and build all the sets that we use for the shows and build all of the stuff that you see in the rides. And then we come in afterwards and we add all the effects, whether it's the animatronics, any special effects that are in the ride, all the audio and the script we implement. So it's a pretty big part of the server, I'd say. And the team, I feel like we've never been the biggest team on MCParks, but I definitely feel like the technician team has been one of the most organized. And I guess we have to keep it that way because we have a lot of stuff to juggle.
I think the technician team with Happily Ever After made the organization for the server, right? And then kind of we did a little bit with DCA for Imagineering, but Imagineering organization really got going after we did HEA as techs.
Definitely.
Yeah, the whole I think when we started using Trello, wasn't Happily Ever
During
After?
Happily Ever After was
Yeah.
Trello was for California Adventure for Imagineering, but it was only used to finish up the last few, the last month or so, to finish up the interiors and all the little stuff. I think Happily Ever After may have been the first big project that used Trello throughout its entire development cycle.
Right. Yeah, so Happily Ever After, I think that has probably been just staying on the topic of that, and then we'll move on. But Happily Ever After is probably the biggest project that we've worked collectively as a team, because I think I'm pretty sure every technician at the time did at least one thing on Happily Ever After.
Hi, I made it.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello. All right. So we can go around again and let's sort of explain what our favorite projects to work on are as our time here. I mean, I know some of you are still working on stuff, but you can still explain what your favorite part about being a technician and your favorite attraction so far to the work done. So let's start at Mikey this time.
My favorite project is definitely making Manias on a Railway, and I feel like the best part is seeing the guests get to ride it first and their reactions.
Awesome. Bouldergeist.
I really I've been working on the Disneyland Jungle Cruise, and that's been a lot of fun.
Ooh.
And just all the little effects with that have been super neat to work on.
Yeah, and that's gonna be cool because that's gonna open with Adventureland later this year. So that'll be
yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, Corey. What about you?
You skipped over DLP, but my favorites are probably Happily Ever After and Haunted Mansion. That's one, and probably Tower of Terror when I did a little bit of that.
My bad. I was following the Discord list. Your name's on the
okay.
But yeah, that's fine. All right, so DLP.
Hi. Okay. So my favorite has to be Tower of Terror. That was pretty fun, because there was a lot of hype for it. There was a lot of I don't know the word for it. Probably hype, and everyone
Hype
was
is probably
just
the word.
hype is definitely.
There's a lot of requests. It was one of the most requested rides for years.
Yeah, and to be able to work on that and then luckily reach expectations, that was amazing to do. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, cool. Eric, what about you?
Well, one of my favorite projects was working on Holiday Wishes. I think it mostly had to do with just Christmas spirit, and then everybody being able to see it, because that was the first fireworks show to premiere on MCParks, at least one of the newest ones, before Wishes and Hallowishes and Happily Ever After. But it was a great show to work on, and just seeing everybody's reaction to the first showing of it, it was just amazing.
I remember
loved doing it.
We had another person working on Wishes at the same time, and they did the entire show. Well, not the entire show, but because they hadn't finished it, but they did all of the show that they had up to that point in nothing.
Oh.
And then Eric at the same time is doing Holiday Wishes, and it looked amazing. The fireworks, the choreography, and everything. So at one point, we were just like, "Yeah, okay, you're doing wishes as well."
Yeah, so I pretty much got known as doing most shows. I really didn't work that much on Happily Ever After. I know I started it, and then basically Josh took over that
You
project.
did one of the cool parts of it. You did the stained glass and
Oh yeah, that I did that. And then
like Merida or something. I think you did Merida.
mhm, my favorite Disney Pixar movie. So yeah.
Awesome. I guess it goes to me now. Well, you could probably guess what I'm going to say, but I actually think that Happily Ever After was probably one of my favorite projects to work on, just because how long it took us. It took us 9 months, right? It was about 9 months. It was either 9 or 10
Yeah.
months to do Happily Ever After.
It was we started full steam on Happily Ever After immediately following Toy Story Land, which was in I think October or November. I think it was like early November, and then it premiered in April, and we worked basically up until premiere day.
Right.
So do the math. I don't know.
Yeah. But so yeah, that was really fun, and just to get like all those animations, those tiny little details on to the castle, and then have all the guests watch it and be really pleased by it was really cool. And then obviously, more recently, we opened Spider-Man earlier this year, and that took me a while too. I think that was like actually I stopped working on Spider-Man because
I
of
mean, you
Happily Ever
started
After.
it before Happily Ever After.
Yeah. So it's
So-
like it took like if you include the long wait is like in production for a year maybe, but it turned out good. So there you go. I think we're on. Yeah, we're on.
I think it's me now, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So unsurprisingly, I think Jurassic Park was definitely one of my favorites. But also originally one of the first Stitch's Greatest Escapes, because I remember that was the first project we did armor stand animations for, or one of them.
I remember
And-
that.
And it was just really cool because I got to try out the show plugin, which was one of the first iterations of the show plugin. And then having the armor stands animations was also really cool. So it was a small project, and it's not still there, definitely. But it was definitely really fun to work on.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of the show plugin, that's a good segue because our next little segment is going to be showing off some of the source code that we have for. I want to say, what are we going to do? You want to show off some Happily Ever After stuff, and then maybe we can go over some like individual rides and explain how that's going to
I
go
think
down.
that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
Cool.
kind of explain both sides of it.
Yeah. So just before we dive into that, we have a lot of custom resources that we use on the server to create all these attractions. So like we have a custom armor stand animation plugin. We have a plugin called Blockamations, which allows you, instead of all those clunky rebuilds that you saw in like the early renditions of like doors opening and stuff, we have Blockamations for smooth block movements. So like the stuff, actually, I think Blockamations, the plugin, Ryan developed it for Happily Ever After, pretty sure. And a lot
Yeah,
of
I
the
can agree with that.
yeah, like a lot of the new stuff like rockets, those were for Happily Ever After. Spotlights were developed, and then we realized, the versatility of all these plugins can be used in other attractions as well. So it worked out in our favor. But one of the main plugins, or I guess I should say the main thing that we use is something called the show plugin. So just because it's called the show plugin doesn't mean that it's just for shows. It's also what we run our rides with. It's what we run all of our attractions with. So in a second here, we're going to have someone go live, and we're going to just walk through how our technicians code attractions and code show files with a programming language called YAML, which is basically just adding timestamps into a file and then putting certain events or actions that you want to happen at a certain time in the file, and then syncing it up to whatever audio you have. And it's a lot of trial and error, but it turns out pretty good in the end once you get everything working. So,
And of course, we do like trainings. There's a guide on how to properly do a lot of the different show techniques and learn how to use the different plugins. So that kind of enables all of the techs and trainees to learn, and it's really cool.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a bunch of stylized guides now that actually Ron helped with he wrote the first one, and then I sort of took his ideas and added on to that, and then made a bunch of other documents that helps train our techs. So we don't just throw you into it saying, hey, here's all this stuff, go do something. We obviously during the training we walk you through everything, so it all makes sense. I don't know who's going to stream first. Corey, you want to do it?
First, we need to get go live permission. So at W2, if you can do that.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So how is everyone?
Permissions. Let's
Doing
just
good.
give it to all cast members, because that's not going to go poorly at all.
It's fine.
Start streaming
Where
all
is
of our
your
Minecrafts.
Gonna
I'm doing good,
explode.
thank you, Caitlin.
Let's see. Do I need to leave and rejoin for it to work? Or
No, I haven't done it yet.
oh, you haven't done it yet. Okay.
Yeah. I don't see the go live permission. Interesting.
One thing I can say really quickly is if there's one thing happily ever after
It
did
might
do
be under
was,
stream.
It should be
was,
under. I see
sure.
voice permissions and then video and members. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to approve video
Oh,
for you to be able to
members
go
in the
live.
channel. Okay, because
Yeah.
try
Technical
now.
issues
I
with
think
the
I
text.
think they've.
yay.
Okay, I'll try rejoin.
All right.
But yeah, HEA tattered my sleep schedule and
Did not
Corey
work.
can agree. Corey, just say yes.
What?
Just say yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
I did it for you. Sorry,
This
DLP.
is all very organized. Oh, I have permission to stream now.
Oh, you have stream permission. Okay.
Does anyone else? Because
I
Nope.
don't.
Okay, fine. Let me just.
That's weird.
So as you can see, we know our stuff.
Yeah.
Corey, do you
very
have
well.
the technician rank? Or do
I
you just
do have the
cast
technician
stream?
rank.
Okay, try now.
I still don't see anything. Let me try rejoin. Nothing.
I mean, we are
Interesting.
technicians in Minecraft, not technicians.
Did you
in,
check
like,
the channel
Discord.
category?
Ooh, my
No.
favorite DLP IRL food has to be a good old Dole Whip or whatever the DLP equivalent is. I love it. Thank you for the question. Yay.
Worst
Okay,
comes to
change
worst.
the-
I can just.
Yeah, you might have to. We might just
Alright.
have to get somebody who's recording to just record the shared screen on
Yeah.
Discord. Then we'll just like crop it or something. I don't know.
All right, cool. That's
Be-
fine.
I'm changing role permissions on. Oh no, I'm changing channel permissions on the role, but they can do it in cast member channels.
May have
They
to drag
say-
another roll above it too.
The price of
There's
my
a
last
priority.
so you're willing to pay.
Can I sing Hamilton with Josh? I don't know
Oh
about
my! This is what
Go
they
for
really
it.
want.
We apologize.
that. Yeah, we apologize
This
for
is how we
the.
check things. We do trial and error.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Very true.
I know this is-
You could say
This is
you
what-
could say
This is just a realistic experience of how we tech things on the server. It's fine.
This is a great
Yep.
segue
Yeah.
into how we do things. Trial and error, and if it doesn't work, try something new.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Can I do an
We're
oof? I don't know if I'm gonna do that right now.
We're not throwing
I'm
away
not
our
the-
shot. That's for sure.
Festival of the Lion King. Stay tuned.
No,
I'm gonna pull
No.
Orion on that one and say
No.
stay tuned.
no.
Okay. Here, I can share my screen.
Cool. I'll just record yours.
Yeah. Let me get this.
Yeah,
Alright.
I think that's the best way for now. I'll
Yeah, just
see
for
if I
now.
can figure. But I think we might have to go this way.
Yeah.
Why so slow?
Hang on. Okay, so we got some things in here. So basically this is our FTP server. So this is how we organize all of our show scripts and show files for rides and shows and other attractions. So right now, I'm over here in the Happily Ever After folder, and this is pretty much all of the stuff that Happily Ever After operates out of. So if we go into one of these files here, took a while to load. Okay, there we go. So this is we use YAML again for our show scripts. So this is the beginning of Happily Ever After. So as you can see, basically how this works is we have certain time codes throughout the show, and the time is in ticks, which is the Minecraft equivalent of like 20 ticks in 1 second. So we have at the start of the show, we have some stuff that runs here. We got some sound toggles, and we start some show audio, and then we have other show start commands within the master file here. And then as you go along, the ticks start rising. So this is, just going through the show here. So this is the very beginning of the show, like I said. So we have the line in chat, and they all lived happily ever after. And then the narrator does his thing over here, and then the song starts playing right here, the opening soundtrack. And then we have a couple of castle changes in here. We have some more castle changes and script in the chat for the song. Here, let me check the. Okay. So yeah, and then we have, let's see, some set blocks. Oh yeah, these are I think Eric did this actually. This is the stained glass pane.
Oh yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, this is yours. All this stuff. We went over. So this is like the glass or the sparkle sort of rising up the castle. Then so this is basically just what the source code looks like, and this is just the first show. So as you can see, it's quite long, and this is just the first section of that show. So we have some firework commands here as well, and yeah, so that's the first section. And we come over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have a total of 7 sections to the Happily Ever After show. So they're all split up here in these YAML files. And then we have some organizational things up here, like this is the anniversary ending version was up here. We have a folder for all the rebuilds used in the show, all the spotlights, all the animations are shown in here, all the block animations too, lasers, particles. So if we go into the animations folder, this is actually a huge folder within itself. So these are all the animations that you see throughout the show. So we got like all the characters in here, like Aladdin, the Frozen stuff, the Jungle Book stuff, Lion King. Basically, every character that spawns in the show is going to be coming out of this folder.
Hey, Vec, can you go in the Philip Fights folder?
The Philip Fights folder. Where's that?
It's in animations.
Okay. Oh yeah. Here's this. Okay. Which one?
Whichever one you'd like.
All right. Let's take a look at Maleficent. Okay, so this is the this is the part where Maleficent is turning into a dragon, and she like sprays the fire down at Prince Philip, and then it transitions over into pirates. So these commands here are actually our custom armor stand animation commands. So we got it's called ASA animate. So those are our main commands here for animating. So we animate each individual body part that we want to move. So like we have the right arm, the left arm moves here a bit, and then some more arm movements, and then we have a location, which just moves the armor stand to a different point in the server. So like in this case, it would be moving 2 blocks down from its original position. And then we have, obviously, at the end here is the speed at which the armor stand is going to move at. And we have also custom saves for our armor stands, so we don't just use entity data to save our armor stands. We have custom saves that allow us to literally type out a short command like this, and we can recall any armor stands within a save that we created. And then we also have an AS kill function, which was, I think Ryan made that. I mean, he was going to make it either way, but it was really the DCA opening that kind of set him off
that was it.
to do that. Yeah.
Also, bad uses of Minecraft kill.
Yeah. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, when our new DCA opened for the first time, Ryan, I think this was like 20 minutes before the park was supposed to open.
Yeah,
Ryan,
it was no more than an hour because he messed up twice.
Yeah, so first Ryan killed all of the armor stands in the park because he forgot to put a radius to one of his kill commands. And then after we started respawning all of them, it was like 20 minutes before the park opened, and he was trying to add a was it a car's head to an armor stand or something?
Mhm.
I think it was Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
No, it was like a Guido or something, but anyway.
So he tried to add that, and then instead of adding the radius, it added the car head to every armor stand on the DL server. So 20 minutes before the opening, we had to go around and remove all the cars. So
we still didn't get it.
Yeah, we still didn't get all of them. Like, I'm pretty sure if you find some of them, you could probably find all the cars or some of the cars like scattered around DL still probably. But anyways, so yeah, so this AS kill was actually Ryan implemented this right after that, just so that we wouldn't have any accidents like that again. So the AS kill maxes out, I'm pretty sure, at like a 5 block radius, unless you give it a name. I think it's like so 5 block radius for multiple kills, and then if you give it a name, you can extend the radius to whatever you want. But that was sort of just like a safety measure, so that we don't have any more incidents like that, because that sucks. Are there any techs in here that want me to go over any show files in specific?
If you want, you can. Well, no, never mind.
No? Okay. So yeah, so this is here. I'll go into the. Let's look at show 3 again. So I'll go in here. So this is basically, again, this is just how our YAML looks like. This is the layout for it. Again, there's the time code, then the items and the events that you want happening on that certain timestamp, and then you just keep scrolling through, and time increases as the show progresses, and all this stuff you see on the server in real time. It's pretty cool.
Snazzy.
And to think back, when the server first started, we were using command blocks in Redstone. Imagine what Happily Ever After would look like if we did it with that.
I wouldn't be here.
We
It's funny. There's some really old parks that you can still fly around, and if you go underneath the park, you still see command blocks in Redstone that are no longer in use. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I remember the first rendition of Wishes was just a huge room under the castle with a bunch of command blocks and redstone.
Ryan still has that video on his YouTube channel.
I believe it was 46 floors of command blocks.
Jesus. Yeah, I wasn't around for that, but I got a tag here. How does TOT drop? Oh, you want to go through TOT, Josh?
Oh my God! Someone asked about TOT. Okay, so basically, we use a. Oh,
Am I blind?
as
Or
you
do
find
I
out.
think it might be new TOT.
Yeah.
New
TOT?
TOT. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So
here.
how TOT works? So how we move our 3D models is through a plugin called FrameCarts, and that's where we have nodes across a track which the 3D model can go across and you can sit in, all of that stuff. Well, they implemented a function which lets you animate the track in an elevator style, or left and right, or rotating around an axis, all of that stuff. And how we do it is in each of the shafts at the end, so Foxtrot and Echo, we have different nodes and different elevator positions set up. I think we have around 13. Is that right, Corey?
13 to 15.
13, 15 in each shaft. And we tried our best to time and program them to go up and down where and when, following the
Audio.
POV, following the audio and
POVs,
POV
which took us ages
and
to
all of
find.
that, which was very fun. And then getting all of that to work. Have you found it?
Vec, go into the Echo folder.
The Echo
Yeah.
folder.
So in shafts,
Uh-huh.
there should be an Echo folder.
Echo this one? Yeah, there you go.
Yep. And then there should be drop.
Drop, here we go. Okay, cool. I'll
Just
Pick
do
anyone.
any. So yeah, another cool thing that we have, which is also with YAML, is we have 4 different drop sequences with a randomizer. But as we can see on the screen right now, those block data commands, what they do is they change. So where it says text free, that's what it changes the third line of text in assigned to, and that's what the node, the elevator position, is called. So for an example, top one top, that's sending the echo shaft all the way to the top. And the 4.4 is how many seconds we want to do that in. Unfortunately, it doesn't go in text. That's a little bit awkward, but hey ho, it's fine. Hopefully that answers your question. Just let me know if anything's unclear.
Yeah, so something cool we can actually do, which was, I think the randomizer was implemented like last year, so it's fairly new, but something we can do with the show plugin is randomize events. So like you said, it plays a random drop sequence every time you start the ride. So that's something that's pretty cool that is fairly new.
Yeah. I think you can see that in the start.yml.
So I'm pretty sure that came out late 2018, early 2019.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, here it is.
There it is.
Yeah, on time 370. There's so here's a randomizer. So there, all the drop sequences here.
So we decided it in like something out of 10. We had the ones with the most effects have a higher chance, even though it's still 3 out of 10, because we had 4 to go between, and obviously, as you know, 10 isn't divisible by 4 to make a whole number, so we had to improvise. Woo!
Yes, sir. So yeah, so this is TOT, and we have a bunch of stuff. So we have all the shafts are in one folder, and then we have the pre-show stuff, which is in another folder over here.
It's very fun. Very fun.
Yeah, and then so yeah, we got the main pre-show set up, and this is all of the item frames, I think, are changed in here for the screen, and then you have the text for the
Item
pre-show.
frames are in TV.
Oh yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, so here's all the item frames. So these are just PNGs being changed around every time that the screen changes, which is pretty cool. And then that goes on for a long time. Let's see, anything else in WDW that you guys think is pretty cool to showcase?
I'd suggest we look at one of your attractions over in USO. How about Spider-Man?
Oh, we could do that, yeah. I was gonna move to that in a second. Let's do that now. All right, so
Someone asked a great question. I don't know if we want to hit on it now or in a little bit.
oh yeah, let's do it now.
So they asked, how do you get all the little blocks to make the trains and some characters? So I think they mean kind of like the characters and non-armor stands. So like what I'm doing with dinosaurs now, or
Oh
what we
yeah,
did
yeah,
for Jungle Cruise or stuff like that.
yeah. Do you want to explain it or should I?
Sure, I can explain it.
Cool.
So the train carts plugin we use actually allows us to change what the train looks like. So without using models, we can actually use blocks to kind of build piece by piece an animal or something. So right now I'm doing Jurassic Park River Adventure in Universal Studios. And a great thing I'm doing is building the dinosaurs piece by piece. And it might be a little difficult to just get it right, but eventually you can. So we do use different types of heads, but we do use some types of blocks as well. And so our training carts plugin allows us to do that, and it's really great. I don't know if that answers your question entirely, or if there's anything else you want to add on.
Another thing for some of the larger stuff like dinosaurs, I know a lot of the older ones were done with armor stands, but some could even be done with blockimations, for example.
Yeah, using the different blocks and using the animations with the blocks. It's a great tool that we have.
Yeah. Another thing about the train carts stuff that we use, the tiny blocks armor stands are plugins. So it's a plugin, but the tiny blocks that you see are, I mean, technically they're represented by, I think they're represented by falling sand, right? I think it might be represented by armor stands though.
Armor stands. It's armor stands.
It's armor stands, yeah.
So Trav, to answer your question, Mater on Radiator Springs Racers is not actually made out of Minecraft blocks. Mater is actually a model.
Yeah, so that's another thing. When you hear from, did the Parks Experience panel go? No, right?
No, that's tomorrow.
No, that's
Yes.
tomorrow.
So when you listen to Parks Experience, they'll talk about making models for the resource pack, and they can go into much more detail than I can, but then we implement them into our resource pack and use them as models for train carts.
To answer the question on how do we get the heads for the armor stands, we use either a database online, minecraft.heads, at minecraftheads.com or something, or we use player heads, or we make our own and then put them onto our skins and then just take them from there and hope for the best.
A good example of that is, for instance, the Emperor and Happily Ever After. That skin was literally something I threw together in Photoshop in like 10 minutes and just threw on my character for like a few minutes and put it into the show.
Yeah, and the train cart stuff that we were going over earlier, you can actually go on the creative server and mess around with it yourself if you're interested in it, which is pretty cool. So like you can mess with train carts attachments and add all those all the models and stuff to any of your creations, which is pretty sick.
Not pretty sick, unbelievably sick.
And Ben, to answer your question from earlier, I'm showing the MCParks show FTP right now. So these are all of our show files. Currently, I'm in the Spider-Man folder. And I'll show you some of the Spider-Man files in a second here. So just going through the chat again. And yeah, back to the models. They will be talking about how we make models and everything that goes into doing that kind of stuff in the Parks Experience panel tomorrow, which is at what time is it at?
I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah, I
2
think
o'clock.
it's 2.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock tomorrow. If you're interested in how models are made and stuff like that, definitely tune into the Parks Experience panel, because not only that, but they're going to be showcasing some other cool things too, which is nice. Yeah, so here, let's take a look at some Spider-Man stuff, because I know people were asking for that. Let's go into one of the city scenes. Actually, not that one. Let's do a bigger one. Okay, so this is the big scene where at the end of the ride, where you're sort of up in the air hovering above all those tall buildings. So I've split it up here so that each character gets its own animation file. So this is Dr. Octopus animating, and his gun too is actually attached to this. This is Electro, which does a lot of movement, so this file should be quite big. Yeah. So this is Electro stuff, and then we have more for Hobgoblin, Hydro-Man, Big Water Guy, Scream, and then obviously the Spider-Man animation files, which are down here. This is all that stuff, and then we have main files. So the main files are what actually start each show in the ride. So like these are starting some animations here, and then the last one I think starts the final sort of big sequence before you get caught in Spider-Man's web. Yeah, there is. That's what web catch is.
So,
Oh yeah, these are all the lasers that make the web at the end of the ride. I don't know if you guys have. Some of you have probably ridden it, but at the end of the ride,
Most of these people have ridden it. It's been open for long enough now, and we hype it up enough.
if you haven't ridden it, spoiler alert, have your ears and go to insert time frame.
Yep. But these are all the lasers that get. Yeah, I did get a Snapchat little head. Jesus. But yeah, these are all the lasers that create the web at the end of the ride. MC.
How much optimization is done to make shows as smooth as possible and limiting server load? Who wants to answer that one?
I can. It's possible. Yeah. So optimization, it really comes down to like the only time we really need to optimize our shows is whenever the particle counts get stupid high. So I know an example of optimization is actually a ride that we just announced in the panel. So our new test track had these really cool trees that were made out of particles, and it was a lot of particles. So every time the show played, you would go in there and you'd get like 15 frames, like 10 frames.
Well, that's because there was 50 or like 500,000 particles.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Eric, you could, because you worked on it, so you could.
Yeah, I did that and I optimized it, so now you get around only 5,000.
Yeah, so
it's beautiful.
Which is a big difference from.
It really is. See, I have a bulky computer that can handle that, but no, not everybody else. So that's how we try to keep it level. It looked good at first, but we have to change everything if it does not work out totally.
Yeah, and then optimizing stuff like Happily Ever After is really included in the show process. So we tried to pull it back on, because there's already fireworks that are kind of like ambiently there in the show, since it is a castle fireworks show. So we wanted to tone it back on the particles on the castle. Obviously you make it visible, but you don't make it so crazy that the particle count is like 100,000 plus. Because that's where some of the lower end PCs start bugging out, and we want everyone to be able to enjoy the show. So,
and then there's some PCs that barely make it through Happily Ever After.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
That was fun. Teching Happily Ever After with 5 FPS.
Yeah. I remember the first night I was trying to be on past my bedtime, and I just couldn't, because it was just lagging so much, and I'm like, oh my god. risking grounding for this. Bill. All got good in the end. I don't have a bedtime now, by the way. I am grown up.
Yeah, let's just say 5 a.m. was the best time for me and DLP to work on Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
Well, 5 a.m. for you. It was like 10 for him.
Yeah.
My eyes
We
hurt.
both stayed up all night.
Yeah, I stayed up until like 3 a.m. doing the lanterns with Boring.
Here's all the text stuff. Oh yeah, a bunch of text for this ride. Why does Racers get an insane frame drop? Well, I think Racers it's actually it's pretty old at this point, right?
It's the models.
It's the models that are like
Yeah, we've been
models
trying
aren't
to
very
optimize them.
optimized.
Yeah.
We've optimized them, but we keep trying to optimize them. But the more you optimize it, the less good or desirable it looks. So
Mhm.
hopefully it will be fully optimized eventually. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you get a frame drop for that. That's why our
Yeah.
newer models aren't really like voxel heavy or anything like that.
Mhm. I remember the first iteration of the Jurassic Park vehicle was not optimized at all, and every time you spawn it, you would like automatically drop down like 50 frames per second.
Oh
because...
boy, I remember that.
But ever since we started optimizing our models and our ride vehicles, we haven't really had that issue. But I think when you're encountering rides that use some of the older models, you'll probably encounter some frame drops, which is unfortunate, but hopefully we will get to optimizing those soon. So do we have any other questions like regarding the show script or any show stuff that we do before we move on?
How's World of Color coming along? There's no progress on World of Color just yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think World of Color is still on hold at the moment.
We're still recovering from Happily Ever After, basically.
Even though that was
there's only
released,
like 3 texts here that were actually there for it.
Mhm.
and that was also released 2 years ago at this point.
Year and a half.
Almost 2 years.
How's A Day in the Park with Barney going? Well, we're still recovering from Happily Ever After.
Well, technically, we're still waiting on Imagineering to finish that. So
Yeah, they
How-
do need to do a little bit of work before we can start A Day in the Park with Barney.
How's RDCT? Well, RDCT is going well. I hope you guys are excited for the finished product as much as I am to show it to you guys.
Cool.
So involving
Yeah, it's been working on
events, texts don't particularly build too much, so we have to wait on Imagineering before we can do anything there.
Yeah.
When are you going to start teching Tokyo Disneyland? We are waiting for more Imagineering to be done, but it's
I mean,
yeah.
there's another problem with Tokyo that Ryan needs to work on, and I think he might be working on it tonight with Paris and all of the other stuff that we're pushing out tonight. So hopefully it'll be fixed.
Yeah, now that
so
we've
nice.
announced that, I think
It's so
That's
nice
gonna
to
be
say
right.
Paris.
Like in a
So
normal channel without fear of they were giving out like corporate secrets.
Guys, we're doing
Oh, boy.
Disneyland Paris. Oh my god, didn't mean to say that.
someone almost spilled the beans a couple months ago.
Oh,
We had to
really?
stop them.
I
Yeah, they were.
remember that.
I forget who it was, but they were in a guest channel and they were about to talk about it. I forget who it was though. That would have been not so good.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah. Any questions regarding anything technician related, really?
Please send them over.
Caitlin, I did not get scared working on Haunted Mansion.
Trav, the server's been up for 7 years and we're keeping on going. We wish that we got paid in pizza.
I would love to get
Mhm.
paid in pizza.
That'd be amazing.
I would say to any of these guys, do you want to share a pizza? But you all live far away. I live on a separate island.
DLP, if you come to the US, I'll gladly share a pizza with you.
We should all. Everyone that works on HEA, come share a pizza. And you guys can join too, I guess.
But we all have to fly over to the UK. He doesn't fly here.
So MCT
Yeah, no,
Hammer actually
you
has a great question.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
just trying to get to that.
yeah.
So he asked, how do you
yeah.
test the timings of the show? Is the main reason for splitting the main body of the show into multiple parts, or you can just test that part of the show? So you hit onto it pretty well. So basically, we test the timings by first, the process of kind of starting a show is just watching it. And then we have a special tool that allows us to kind of put different markers down on a video of different timings for different events. So if we see a big fireworks shot, we can put a time there. Or if there's like a text, yep, Josh just put it, and Tyler just put it in the chat. So I don't know if any other guys want to hit on some stuff too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically
I was just
when
about to mention the show sync.
oh yeah. Yeah, the show sync tool helps us a lot because with Minecraft we have to actually code our shows in ticks based on a Minecraft tick, which is 1/20th of a second. So the show sync utility basically just takes the show video, times it, and just like after 2 seconds, it will say 40 ticks. So that's what you would do, and you would just put that in, and then we test it on the server against lag as well as other things going on as well to see if we need to make adjustments.
The show's being split up. It makes it easier to test the show, but like Happily Ever After are split into 7 segments because at the beginning of each of those segments, the audio will resync. So if the show gets out of time because of network or server lag, then it will throughout the show, which is why we split it.
Trav also asked a question. Personally, I do not know the answer to this one. He asked, how do you render the maps using Google Maps or question mark?
We have a special outlining tool. That would be a question you'd want to ask tomorrow at the Imagineering panel.
Yeah.
To do that.
Are you asking about the picture frame maps or the map?
I think he might be asking about the maps in the hands.
Mentioned.
Well, the maps in the hand are technically grabbed from the Disney app.
Yeah, so the maps in your hands are really, really quickly explained as fast as I can. It's an overlay of a Google map layer on top of a Disney image server map, and then we pull the images down, and then that's what gets shown to you.
Oh, he was asking about the picture frame maps.
No, he said let's go with the picture frame maps.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to know about how to get one-to-one layout, that's something you'd want to bring up in the Imagineering panel tomorrow. But very briefly, we have a tool that allows us to essentially set 2 different points, and it does various sort of math for us, and we can get the relative point of any other location. And then we just sort of trace buildings like that.
Anyone else have any questions? I really like the questions that people are coming up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is good.
We do have offices.
Yeah, we do.
Just like the guest relations, we have our offices in the Team Disney building near Disney Springs.
But they're higher up because we're awesome.
So we
Oh my
test the
gosh.
shows on a private server.
Oh yeah, I was just about to go over that too. So do you test shows on a private server? So we actually don't. We make all of our shows and tech work that on the server, on the live server. So I know that during the development of Happily Ever After, we actually had some guests that were on it like 3 o'clock in the morning that caught glimpses of us like doing some work on the show. So yeah, if you go to an attraction that is not open and you can see the progress, I mean, you have to go at the right time, but sometimes you can catch technicians doing their work in specific projects. So
As we got closer to HEA finishing, though, we every time we did a full like showing of the show, we would world guard off the entire area so that we weren't spoiling the show for other people coming in. So if you ever notice that the entire area of the hub at either Disneyland or Magic Kingdom is suddenly inaccessible, it's probably that.
So
Jojo, to finish your question, no, we technically don't, but my answer will be yes, it's my bedroom.
Yeah, it's each of our bedrooms. Colton asked, how can someone become a part of the tech crew? And I think that really goes along with Russian's question. He asked, how hard is it to learn the custom programming? So basically, if you want to be a tech, apply to be a tech. And how hard is it to learn the custom program? We have such a great team that can teach you things, and we have such great manuals that Vec and I myself have written. But it's not that difficult. I think learning some of the some of the Minecraft vanilla tags and learning how to use command blocks and Minecraft commands themselves could be helpful, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And if you have a question, you can ask. For me, I take random long breaks from the server for I don't even know how long. Sometimes they're months, sometimes they're weeks, and things come out and I have to learn all these stuff. But it's really helpful to just have a great team. Like if I have a question, I'll go into the tech chat and ask, and someone can be on in like 5 minutes teaching me how to do it. And so if you want to be a tech, I say go for it, because we love having people on the team and we love having great people on the team.
We kind of mentioned, we kind of mentioned it this morning about what you need to show off, but we're looking for like technical literacy, right? We want you to be familiar. We want you to be familiar with Minecraft commands, like default Minecraft command. I know Vec was saying he sometimes goes on creative just to see what people are doing with like the train carts and stuff. I don't know if Vec wants to touch on that a little more.
Oh yeah. So although like not all of the custom plugins that we use, like the show plugin that I'm showing here is definitely not available on Creative. But most of the custom stuff that we have on the server that we developed is not available on Creative. But one of the things that is the train cart stuff and TCC. So train carts and train carts attachments, you can, I've gone on Creative and I've seen some crazy stuff that some of the creative guests have been making. So that is just like another, if you're looking to become a technician, that is just like another thing that I kind of look at, like see how well you can work with a basic plugin like train carts, and that's sort of like a telltale.
If I could give a suggestion, I'd probably say to mess with command blocks as much as you can in a single player world. It really helped me.
Yeah, 100%.
Just try to like make new things, and it's really cool. Like see what you can do with it, like falling sands or armor stands, or even like we said, using pigs and creating a ride with that. It's kind of fun, but you can do whatever your mind can think of with command blocks, and that's a great primer to becoming a tech. Kevin asked, are there any little tricks that you've learned while doing past tech projects that has made it easier when you're working on current or future projects? For me, it's just kind of breaking down exactly what I need to do and attacking it one by one. Because when I started, I just tried to do it all at once. And you don't even have to go in order of a show or a ride. Just breaking it down and making sure that you're hitting each and every aspect.
Yeah, I don't mind me. I'm just kind of just going through the happily ever after stuff at this point. I'm just scrolling through the stuff.
So because I'm British, I do have to go now. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it's already been an hour. Jesus.
It's only midnight.
It's only midnight. I only have college in 2 days. But before I go, they say no. Okay, no. Right.
Have a good
Bye.
night, Josh. Thanks for
Bye.
joining us.
No.
Good night.
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 Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Just put Josh's severed head right there.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Cody Grant, how do text?
Oh, I was
be
just gonna
private?
go be the replacement, Josh. Hi, welcome.
How did Tex get a new project? Well,
Or Ryan.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so basically,
In
if
its
you become a
simplest.
technician, pretty much, yeah. If you become a technician on the server, you start out as an Earning My Ears cast member, and while you're in Earning My Ears, you pretty much like I just give you an attraction to go work on, and then you go do it. And once it's done, then that's when you eventually move up to full technician. And once you're a technician, you kind of have a lot more leeway than you do as an EMA, because as a technician, you can sort of just like ask me, hey, I want to do, this attraction, or I want to go work on this show. And if you're already a full technician and you don't have anything else going on, I will most likely just say, yeah, go for it. So for the most part, I say you get to choose what you get to work on, unless we're doing like a big push for an opening, then I have everyone go work on that certain attraction.
A lot of things are worked on as a team, and that's something that's really nice because you get to work with a lot of great guys.
Yep.
Some of my favorite attractions that I've worked on, we've worked on as a team, like Haunted Mansion, Happily Ever After.
Haunted Mansion's great.
Jojo asks, "What's the hardest thing you've done?"
Hardest thing? That's a good question.
That is a very good question. We can kind of go down the line for this one.
Yeah, I guess we could. So are we following the line on the server?
We can do that, or we could follow the line on Discord. Mikey, do you want to answer?
Hardest thing I've done. I don't really know. I haven't encountered too many difficult parts in the rides I've worked on so far.
I'll say that one of the hardest things to do is kind of timing things, but also, timing things with audio and timing things to make sure that it lines up perfectly with what you need to do is definitely one of the hardest aspects of being a tech. But like one of the hardest projects I've done, I don't know. It's difficult to say. I personally work on a lot of rides. I haven't really done shows, so I can imagine shows being quite difficult, but I really don't know.
For me, it's probably staying up past 10 without getting caught.
Yeah. Sounds about right for you.
What about who's there? Is it Eric?
Oh yeah, what the hardest thing? Okay, let's see. It's actually very hard because I guess it would have to be the first show I worked on. I guess that would have to be the hardest. I mean, there wasn't too much to go on with it. It's just I didn't have the resources like I have today. Like Mike showed you how the show files are today, but back when we first made wishes and holiday wishes,
it was not like that at all.
Our show files were you cannot edit them once you do it. So
yeah, they followed kind of a linear style, and once you added a line, you'd have to go and retime the entire show to add something in.
And we would do it through commands, so we didn't have access. Well, in the beginning, only Sam and I had access to the FTP server, and eventually it got to all the techs, but we had to use commands, and that was a.
For the longest time, it was me and Ron channeling files back and forth between techs, and then uploading them.
My gosh.
Sounds like me with audio for the audio server.
I always sent him my audio.
Yeah.
People send me stuff all the time. I don't do stuff with half of it because I forget about it.
It's funny. You're usually the more reliable one, though, Josh.
Over who, Ryan? Yeah.
Ryan and Beck
s-
sometimes.
Surfer Boy, to answer your question, it's not going to be a giant screen that you're flying through. Instead, I think that they're building sets for that attraction.
What,
Yeah,
Soren?
it's gonna be massive
Yes.
set for Soren. Yeah.
Yeah, no, think Spider-Man with the giant sets, but bigger.
Pretty much.
It's a huge project. It's probably going to be one of the biggest rides and most difficult rides that we're going to have to work on.
We showed off some of the sets in an expo video. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if you were watching earlier, we showed off the progress on the Soren sets. So, and it's already massive, and those aren't even done yet. So, just imagine what it's going to look like when it's done. It's going to be
But
crazy.
that's the fun part. It's the challenge in building things bigger and better.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? See some people typing, but
I noticed a question from somebody regarding like how the videos are done in like Tower of Terror. And I think I saw someone answer it, but basically this is the Tower of Terror pre-show television screen in quotes, because it's really just an image map. But so we have an image map that is on our image server that starts out as one picture, and then is it 4 FPS? I think it moves at something like that.
I believe it's 4.
Is it? Yeah, it's 4. So every 4 FPS, it changes the picture. So as you can see here, there's just a bunch of PNGs in this file that change every 10 ticks. It looks like
2 FPS. Broken tells us.
Oh, it's 2 FPS.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
2 FPS.
Gotcha. So every 10 ticks in the show file, so it's at 2 FPS, it changes each picture, and that all of these pictures are one frame in the pre-show, and then it goes on until the show ends.
And then some other animated image maps would be, for example, like the Pizza Rizzo sign, or if you've been in the expo hall, the Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway sign.
Coder asks us, what is your favorite question to be asked about being a tech? I don't know. I don't really get many questions about being a tech. Anyone else?
I think this is like the first open question and answer kind of thing we've done in a long time with techs.
Yeah, we don't do these often, but this is good, I guess.
Techs are usually behind the scenes, and we don't really get a lot of questions.
Yeah. I think people just because not many people are able to see us doing our job since it's all behind the scenes. But once the ride's open, they're just like, oh, the technicians made all the effects and stuff. So it's kind of just like assumed that we're doing stuff all the time. But
I mean, I answered this in the chat, but I'll say it again. Surfer Boy asked, just reiterating, how do we make the armor stands move? We have a custom plugin for that, and I don't know, Vec, do you want to pull it up on the screen if you could find something?
oh yeah, here we go. I can pull up some animation. Actually, why did I exit the HEA folder? I can just pull it up there.
Yeah, so we have a custom plugin, and we go through and we can animate the location of the armor stands or different body parts. So yeah, and yeah, Jess sent a link to our armor stand tool, and that's how we kind of pose the armor stands. It's very useful.
Let's go into Jafar here. I'm gonna find an example here.
Or if you're me, you just use it to get the head of an armor stand, head of a character.
Yeah,
that too.
I literally had to write that system just because I wanted it.
Okay, so if you look on the screen now, this is a file that just has a bunch of animation commands in it. But this is what our custom animation commands. This is what they look like. So basically, we have the ASA animate. We state that, and then we state the name of the armor stand that we gave, and then the XYZ coordinates that it's standing on, the origin coordinates, and then a radius for the animation to sort of expand out of that origin in, and then a tag which can either be location, any body part that we want to move, or even the rotation of the armor stands. We state that here. And then these 3 numbers here that I'm hovering over are sort of just the dimensions that we want them to move at. So actually a better example would be this one here on line 15. So we have the right arm of this armor stand move to a 100-degree angle, and then it doesn't move in the Y or Z direction, so we keep those at 0. And then finally, we end the command with the ticks, which is the speed in which the animation moves at. And that
so
is
if you love math, this would be great for you because XYZ plane, different. It's basic calculus without having to do the work, which is nice.
Yeah. See a question here. Approximately how long does it take to animate an animatronic? Well, it really depends on what you're doing. So for something like, I'm gonna use Spider-Man as an example. For something like Spider-Man, the first scene that I made in that ride, which is him jumping off the building and jumping down to the car and talking to the guests and saying nice shades. Yeah.
That's
so
the most notable part of that scene.
Yeah. So that first part took me probably maybe a couple hours to animate. Yeah, but I know that some animations take longer, some animations take shorter. It just depends on what animation you're talking about.
The only thing I remember from Spider-Man is me showing Vec how to use train car animations.
Yeah, you had used them before me, so because I had no idea. Because at the time, I think animations were new, and I hadn't used them before. So you can thank Corey for showing me how to do that.
I had done it earlier with Primeval World, so lovely.
Yep.
So if anyone has a question, we'll take a couple more questions, and then we'll finish up, I think.
Yeah, I think because we've been running for like an hour and 12 minutes.
Just over an hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Mini games are going to be implemented through a custom plugin, not necessarily through our show server system. We're looking to develop that plugin or any of those features more so on the Parks Experience development team, not necessarily the technicians.
However, I will say minigames in the past were shows. Like the current Four Corners is literally a show that's run, and it's manually controlled by a GR.
You have Optifine, but you can't see what the clothing is supposed to look like on the server. Do you have the updated version of Optifine, or do you have the correct version of Optifine? I think we recommend either 1.12.2 or 1.12.1.
Optifine for the clothing works best if you're playing on version 1.12.
The 1.16 version is still really new, so there's definitely some bugs with it.
Also, make sure that when you go into your Optifine options, that custom textures or custom items or something, that setting is turned on. If you turn it off, it won't work.
Tons and tons and tons of hours have been worked on shows.
Oh yeah. I
and
wonder how
rides.
many. I wonder how many lines of code are in the WDW folder alone. I wonder if we
At
could
least 1 million.
calculate that.
Probably 20, at least.
Jesus.
If only there was a file size for a folder.
You could compress it.
Oh god, that would take years.
Literal year.
Throwback to when everything was .toaster files.
I was about to say that.
Yep. Dot
Have you
toaster.
ever stayed up 24 hours? I mean, I personally have, not specifically doing a project, but like doing a project has helped helped me staying up 24 hours plus school and other stuff.
Last time I stayed up was Old Tower of Terror, circa like 2015.
Yeah.
I've pulled a couple all-nighters and working on Happily Ever After.
Oddly enough, one of the only all-nighters I did for a project was helping Kumo build Grand Floridian. So I
Yeah.
think we'll take one more question and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, I'm gonna wrap up the stream there.
Oh, that's a great question. For the finish, is there a project you wish you could have worked on? Do we want to go down the list again just for the last question? Mikey, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Project I wish I could have worked on. I haven't really thought about this too much. Maybe like Hulk, because I really like roller coasters.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, Noah?
Poltergeist?
Oh, I think it would be, well, I really like Living with the Land. I think it'd be cool maybe even to redo it eventually, but I wish I could have worked on that.
Yeah, I did a very minor refurb to Living with the Land about a year ago, but it definitely could use a lot of tweaking soon.
Corey, do you have any project you wish you could have worked on?
One I'd like to work on in the future is Carousel Progress, but nothing
Good
that's really
one.
open.
Eric, what about you?
I got my wish this year, but for my other wish, it would be Imagination with Figment. At least doing a refurb because I feel like it does need it.
It does, yeah. That original.
Yeah.
I did the original version, and that was like 3 years ago. So it doesn't.
Oh my
need a little
gosh.
touch
Yeah.
now.
So we definitely need a. Oh, Caitlin, you know why. There you go. All right, let's keep moving on. Mike.
Yeah.
What do I wish I could have worked on? I wish I could have done the original Pirates in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That would have been really cool to do.
Wasn't
But
that
Agent
an
Carmichael beat me to it.
attraction?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I joined to do a show. I've still never done a show. So for me, I'd love to just kind of work on a show. That's my thing. Also, I'd like to add, if anyone has any questions, you could always ask us on the server. If you see us, just message us or message us on the Discord, tag us. We'd love to answer questions all the time.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, if you think you'd be interested in possibly join a tech team, definitely apply because I look at applications almost on the daily. So, yeah, and we do need. I mean, the team is we're at where we want to be right now, but more help is always appreciated. So, mcparks.us/apply. If you want to apply for tech, please do if you're interested, because we could always use some expansion.
More help's always needed on the team.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for staying with us, listening to us. We're a ragtag group.
Yeah. Well, thanks for staying here. Pardon the technical difficulties at the beginning, but it worked out in the end. So
enjoy the rest of your day and the MCParks Expo.
I was expecting you to say have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. This meeting is.
Oh, you can finish it off and do
have
that.
a wonderful day and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. This panel is. Beck, would you like to do the honors?
Adjourned.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you guys. See you later.
See you later.